Well, hi, everybody. It's another Conversations with, and I'm Dick Vaughn, and I'm delighted that I have you with us today. But I'm also delighted to have a terrific person that I recently met at a meeting that I attended, and her name is Melody Beach. And Melody is a unique lady who has her fingers in all kinds of things, and she's really out there. So, Melody, why don't you tell us just a little bit about what you really do?
Well, thank you, Dick, for that introduction. It was wonderful. I'm an HR professional by education and experience. I went out on my own last year, and I've actually been doing a number of things. But one of the projects that I've been doing that I'm really passionate about is I group lead a 50-plus job seekers group. It's a networking group for that demographics. It's helping them get back into the work world, as well as networking with other individuals that are out of work or looking to go back into work. And it's giving them the tools and confidence to be able to do that.
Well, you know, I'm so delighted you talk about that because we hear so much about it. I certainly get my AARP magazine every month, and AARP is really big on getting people back into the workforce. And one of the things that, you know, it's amazing. I remember my father said, always do business with an old, experienced, established firm. And here's these people who, whatever position in life they had, we have people who have been major executives who are now in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, and they're sort of semi-retired or retired, and they have a wealth of knowledge, experience. I know in my own career, I was in broadcasting for still am, but 67 years in broadcasting, and after I sold the stations that we owned, I became a radio doctor. And what that means is I would go out and stations would be in trouble. They'd have a big balloon note. They'd owe more on them than they were worth. And I was able to go in, take the property, turn it around, increase revenue, get them back up so that they're profitable so they could be selling them and pay the debt. And I became like a radio doctor. And only because of the experience of running radio stations. I knew what to do.
Right. Well, that's similar to me.
And so what happens is, I'm delighted you do this because there are people out there who, from all different walks of life, who spent 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years working for a company, working with a company, whatever it is, insurance business. My wife was just telling me that she works for a big insurance company, and a woman who's been there for 34 years just retired last weekend. And that anybody had any question, they would run to Gwen. Because for 34 years she was at the same company.
Right.
So this woman, you know, had a plethora of knowledge and information. And so, to your point, we have these people who are 50 plus, who have a tremendous amount of experience, tremendous amount of knowledge, and they can step back in and go work somewhere and bring a vital service to that company.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. So that's what I'm doing. So having 28 years in the HR field in corporate America, I decided to go out and branch out on my own and provide my services, expertise, and knowledge and bring it back to the community in a variety of different ways. So talking about this project, I'm taking all that experience in HR, looking at resumes, looking at cover letters, helping people network and market themselves, helping them get back into the work world. So to your point, they could be a variety of different reasons why they're there. They could be retired going on to an encore. They could be part-time, full-time looking for part-time. Or they could just be out of work, just looking to go back in.
Well, not only that, there are a lot of people who, and I know some friends of mine who have experienced this. They worked in one career for 30 years. A friend of mine was in the hospitality industry, worked at the Public House, Old Sturbridge Village, the Southbridge Hotel, sold weddings and parties and events and blah, 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 and got to a point where got bored or got burned out. I guess the burnout is the word.
Sure.
She got to a point where she says, do I really, you know, I'm 51 years old. I've been doing this since I graduated from college. What am I going to do now? What, I don't want to book another wedding. You know, I really don't.
We have people looking for career changes.
And so she stepped back And I watched her, and she said, I'm going to find something that will interest me, and I'm going to go do it.
Yep.
And she did. She found a situation that developed. She applied. They couldn't wait to hire her because she was a great salesperson, because that's what she really did. And she has that knowledge. She knows how to, as they used to call them, bridezillas. She knows how to deal with a bride and a mother-in-law, you know, and calm them down. And so she went into a different field and slipped right in. And other than learning the jargon, is all she really needed to do. And she slid right in and is doing very, very well, and is really, really excited because it's a new challenge for her.
Exactly. And that is one of the classes that are taught as well in that series. It is actually taking your skills and seeing if they're transferable into a different industry. Because you're right, some people don't want to do the same thing. They're looking for a change to get that excitement and challenge.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
And this, she's involved in insurance, where she does claims, and people call up, I wrecked my car, rah, 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 and she's calming them down, take it easy, you know, because of the experience that she had in the hospitality industry, dealing with people who are planning events, who are wrecks, and I got to make sure she's calmed down, we'll take care of it. So she knows how to smooth with these people. She knows how to calm them down and get the job done.
Sure.
And calm them down. So like, we'll take care of it for you. I know it was a terrible experience, but that ability that she developed in another industry is something she slides right over.
Transferable. That's
Transferable
right.
right over, because it's basically, you know, handling their problem. That's what it is.
In,
And,
that,
you know,
in that situation,
yeah.
exactly.
And so that there's a lot of those, and it's interesting because a lot of people are afraid. Of course, one of the great, I don't know what the right word is. I was going to say tragedy. It's not a tragedy. One of the great concerns that people have is fear. The fear of the unknown, doing something different. Oh, I can't do that. You know, I remember when my kids were growing up, I'm the eternal optimist. Sun's going to come out tomorrow. Don't worry, it'll be fine. And there's one word in my vocabulary that I don't know what the word means, and that's the word can't. There is no such thing as can't. Now look, I choose not to do that. For instance, I know that if I run in front of a big truck, I could get hurt. So there are some things I choose not to do.
Right.
But don't tell me I can't, because I certainly can run in front of a truck.
Sure.
And so the point is, too many people get bogged down with, oh, I could never do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You know, and a lot of times it's the fear of doing something new and different.
Change.
Change.
It's fear and change. That's right.
I have to tell you my story about change. I was, in 1890, I was over in Dublin, and I was having lunch with George Bernard Shaw in this little Irish pub. And this is what he said to me. Dick, progress is only made by change. And if you can't change your mind, then you can't change anything. Now, fact, he really said that in 1890. And no, I wasn't really there.
Right.
But he really did say that. I submit to you that phrase, progress is only made by change, and if you can't change your mind, then you can't change anything, is probably more applicable today than it may have been back when he said it. Because you're right. And the toughest thing people have is change.
Yep.
I used to do seminars. I was on the road for a while, many years ago. I used to do it in leadership and coaching, and I never did management because you can't manage people. Got any kids? Go ahead and try to manage them, see what that happens. But anyway, I used to open up my seminar by saying, I'm going to scare the heck out of you people today, because I'm going to ask you to change, and it's going to put you through hoops. Now, if you think change is easy, here's what I want you to do. How many people here are married or have a friend or have a partner that they're living with? And of course, 95% of the group would put their hand up.
Right.
I'd say, okay, here's what I want you to do. When you go home tonight and you're getting ready for bed, I want you to get in on the other side of the bed and see what happens.
He throws him for a loop.
And here's what I said, let me tell you what's going to happen to you. What are you doing on my side of the bed? And you'll say, well, honey, I thought this was our bed. it is, but this is my side of it. So everybody would laugh.
Yeah.
But it's true. See, we're such creatures of habit.
Yep.
And the most difficult thing in the world for people to do is change. But if you're willing to do it, it can open up horizons that you never dreamt were possible.
Exactly. And I found that myself when I opened up my own business. It's scary, it's fear, there's change,
sure.
but it's exciting and rewarding and challenging all
Yeah.
at the same time. So
Yeah.
I absolutely agree
Why
with
don't,
you.
why don't you walk us through some of the things that you do at this program? Because I
Okay.
think it's intriguing.
Okay.
Because it's called Aging Massachusetts.
Well, actually, it's partnered with Governor Baker. So Governor Baker has an initiative going on in his arena,
Yeah.
which is related to elders or aging in Massachusetts. And he put a board together to manage this. And they put together a plan with 4 pillars, a blueprint, for lack of a better word, of 4 pillars. And one of those pillars actually fits in with what I'm doing, and that is supporting older workers. And we want to make sure that there's programs out there for 50 plus, 60 plus, et cetera, that can help them if they want to retrain or hone the skills that maybe they don't have and give them the confidence to get back out there. So what happened is the program started years ago by a woman by the name of Susan Kelly, and she started working with MCOA, and slowly over the years, more and more programs across the state have been being held. And so we are up to 16 locations right now in Massachusetts. Can you
Wow.
believe it?
Yeah.
And Worcester is one of them, and that's the one that I lead. Very excited about that because in central Massachusetts we found, other than Mass Hire, there really wasn't a lot of networking groups and or places where you can hone your skills, let's say. So with that said, we have the Worcester location, and we're situated in the Worcester Senior Center, and I hold the sessions twice a month on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month from 2 to 4. And with that, I offer, or what we do is we do, in each one of those sessions, we have a topic. And as I mentioned earlier, we have topics such as resume writing, cover letters, assessment skills, excuse me, also things like marketing, branding, and other things
Right.
that we bring them through and help them to generate an actual document that they will use. And also included is LinkedIn, because some of these folks at the time that they were working, perhaps, you didn't have to have LinkedIn. You may not even have to have a resume. It may have just been word of mouth. But now times have changed, and everything's electronic, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm just trying to help folks.
Yeah, because in today, you don't even send mail anymore. They'll
Nope.
say, email me your resume.
Videos
Yeah.
are interviews now.
Yeah.
You can only get a resume electronically, typically. And then they have this ETS system, which actually filters out and
You know-
scans out resumes and applicants.
You know, I want to take a moment because one of the things that troubles me, and it really has troubled me, is with, Einstein back in 1939 said, the more technology we create, the more idiots we're going to make. And one of the problems that's happened, in the old days, if you called a business, they answered the phone.
Yes.
Yes, they say, good afternoon, Joe's Marketplace, and you could talk to somebody. That's gone. You now get a voicemail, and they tell you got 3 choices, 1, 2, or 3. And if you need to do something 4, there's no option for 4, and it's frustrating. And so what happens is, 2 things happen. With voicemail and email, people don't get back to you. You send in your application, and you want to know if they got it, and you send them an email. They'll never get back to you.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
can be very
in the old
frustrating.
days, if you applied for a job, you automatically got a little postcard or a note back saying they received your resume, they're looking at it, they'll get back to you.
I remember those days, Dick.
Not anymore.
No. A lot of companies don't do
And if you
that.
call up, they won't even talk to you.
Although I will say, sometimes they will set up an automatic response
Yeah.
to your application.
Yeah.
But I agree, and that's part of the frustration.
So what's happened, it becomes very difficult
Yeah.
for people who are trying to reach people to reach out to them and have any kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
So that it becomes it becomes very, very challenging just to get a resume to somebody.
Challenging, non-personal.
Right.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I know,
Now
and that's why I
these
try.
H&R people now have what they've basically done is they've shut themselves off. You can't talk to them. You can't get to them. They'll say, send an email, and they never respond to it. And so it makes it a little challenging. Now, having said that, is there an option? I mean, do you ever have a situation where you have companies come in to meet with these people?
I'm glad you asked that question because I do. I look for guest speakers and or companies that are hiring and have them come in and speak to the group that comes in or come in and talk about their services. So as an example, next week I'm having a woman come in. She has her own business for branding. Headshots, photography, things of that nature. But she's going to come in and talk to the group and give them pointers and information and then offer some services to them, which will be very beneficial. But I do look for businesses, and if anyone's interested, certainly reach out to me. I would be more than glad to talk to them and schedule to have them come in.
Because I'm thinking, what a great opportunity. You and through your group could deliver 10, 15, 20 potential tremendous assets.
We have a plethora of experience and skills in these groups.
You know,
it's unbelievable.
I just thought of something. My father always wanted me to go to Harvard. Well, I never did go. I went to BU and Emerson College for broadcasting and other things. But anyway, I had an opportunity. This is many years ago. I get a call from a friend of mine. And Harvard was doing, this is now 30 years ago, they were doing a situation where they had a lot of people who were, wanted to change positions, had worked in various, and they ran this program at Harvard Business School where they would run these seminars. And I was invited to come in and talk about broadcasting and communications. And I went to the meeting and I did my little presentation, and there was three, well, they used to call them stewardesses in those days, airline stewardesses. They're now flight attendants, but airline stewardesses. And they were all burned out. They said, all we really are is we're a flying waitress. That's what we really are. You know, we can give me a spiffy little uniform all you want, but all we are is flying waitresses. And these three young ladies, they were terrific kids. And I remember meeting with them and talking, and they were all excited about getting into communications, into broadcasting. And I made some recommendations. There was plenty of little schools that you could take and go to places. And so it was a great opportunity, and how these people were really looking to change direction in their life. And now these girls at that time, they were probably in their middle 30s. You know, they had been doing it for 10 or 12 years, and they were basically tired of it. You know, and but to your point, you bring in some great potential workers for some of these companies.
We do. We have, I mean, all these locations have a lot of people that are attending them that have a lot of experience to bring to the table and a desire to work. And they're reliable, they're experienced, they're educated. I mean, I can't speak enough about them.
No, and they are. And I was just thinking, you know, the different people. Someone who's worked for 20, 25 years and has a, you know, and it goes back to work ethic. You know, there's another interesting thing. People who are generally in their 50s and 60s grew up when work ethic was vital. When you had a work ethic, you never missed a day of work. You went to work, you did your job. You weren't worried if it was 2 minutes over. If you had to finish up, you finished up and went home. You didn't worry, 4:30, I got to leave now. You know, it was a different world, a different work ethic. And I know of talking to different people, one of the problems today, you interview somebody and all they care about is how much time off they get, you know, how much vacation time, how much perks they get, how much benefits, and you almost wait a minute, what are you going to do for us? You know, they have a whole, or then the one that says, I'm not working for $12 an hour. You know.
Well, I know, keeping up with the demands of HR and the current trends, a lot of companies now are looking at, and I think this is a great idea, of actually doing some job sharing, bringing in the older workers and matching them up with younger workers
Right.
and doing that combination together is a win-win, I believe.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I would love to have more companies start looking at that, because there's, to your point earlier on in the conversation, there's going to be a lot of people out of work pretty soon that are going to be over 65.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But they still want to work. They have a
course.
desire.
That's right.
You know,
And-
or
and an ability.
an ability, or maybe financially they need to, but regardless of that, they want to. They have
That's
a
right.
passion.
That's
They
right.
wouldn't be in the class
Right.
doing this if they didn't have a passion or desire to want to go in the work world.
Melody, take a minute. Let's say there's somebody out there watching the program, and I know there are, and someone said, wow, maybe I ought to, well, I mean, that sounds great. How do I get involved? Tell somebody how they get involved and go to one of your sessions.
Well, for coming to the session for me, they would go online at www.mcoa.50plusjobseekers and register.
Now, you know how fast you just said that?
I'll go slower.
You go nice and slow, because if they're watching, they got to be able to write this down.
Okay. So if people are interested
Right.
in coming to the session on Wednesdays, they would go to www.mcoa, which is
MCOA, right.
Mass Council on
Aging.
Aging, /50 plus job seekers group,
50 plus job seekers group,
and register.
and register.
And then they can come to the class. If people are
And the class is in Worcester.
it's in Worcester at the Worcester Senior Center, twice a month,
Right.
at 2 to 4
Yeah.
on Wednesdays. That's the second and the fourth Wednesday.
Right.
Now, if people are interested in other information, they can certainly go to www.aarp.org,
Yeah.
and they can get information on employment
Yeah.
and other supplemental courses like what I'm doing.
Right.
Because sometimes my motto is this: get as much information and resources out there that you can.
Right.
Some of it may be duplicate, but some of it may not be. Use what you need.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I think it's really important to tell people about all the resources out there.
Yep.
So AARP being a partnership with MCOA, funding it, and partnering with MCOA is a great thing this year.
Right. So it's a great opportunity for folks to get involved, and they may be able to go to that program, learn new skills and new things, get their name out, and get back in that workforce.
And what I want to clarify is everyone is welcome. We don't turn anyone away. 50 plus, everyone's welcome to come.
Yep.
Okay?
And what a great, when you think about it, what a great opportunity. First of all, just to go meet people. Just to go to a group setting, and there's 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 other people in the same category, and you're going to meet new and exciting people.
You're
And-
networking.
That's right. And you're meeting
Exactly.
people, and you never know what's going to come out.
Well, you don't, Dick. I'll give you another example for me. I volunteer. I think volunteering is providing a service, I think, is our American duty,
Right.
to be honest with you. But that's my thoughts. So I volunteer, and I happen to volunteer for AARP
Right.
before this project even
Right.
came to fruition for me. I was networking. It just, working and volunteering for them, and then having this program come
Right.
up from a different angle, you just never know who you're going to meet.
No.
And socialize with, or who they know
That's
that
right.
has a connection. So it may not be your first networking connection. It could be your second or third or fourth
That's
down
right.
the road. That could give you an opportunity.
Right, it opens a door.
It does.
And
It does.
and you meet somebody, and it's happened to me so many times. I'll bump into somebody, and someone will say, "Oh, my son or daughter wants to get into broadcasting. Can you help them?" Sure. Here's what you do. Now I know that the Mass Broadcasters Association, which we belong to here at TV Charlton, we support that, and the reason we do is they have paid internships.
Okay.
They have scholarships that they'll give to somebody who wants to get into communications.
That's
We give
wonderful.
them those every year. We have special programs. For instance, if a family member wants to go into broadcasting, they can apply for a grant, which will help them pay for their course.
That's great.
All right. So it is amazing the number of programs that are really available.
There are.
And so they're out there, and these are just simple little opportunities. So to your point, someone says to me, "Gee, Dick, you've been in radio and television all your life. My daughter is in high school. What's the best thing she can do? She ought to look at Emerson College. She ought to look at Syracuse. Look at the schools, Boston University School of Communications. Look at the schools that have a program that's directed toward communications or broadcasting.
Yep.
That's what she wants to do or he wants to do. And you can guide them and direct them. Then say, by the way, contact the MBA, Mass Broadcasters Association,
Right.
and apply for one of their grants. Because if you get it, it's going to help you get into school, and it'll help pay for your tuition. So there's all kinds of opportunities.
There are.
And it goes back to what we said earlier. You go to one of these meetings, you never know who you're going to be sitting next to.
That's right.
You never know. Somebody will look and say, you did what? Wow, I know a guy that's looking for somebody that used to make donuts. You know, I mean.
Well, it's true. Part of the program is coming in with your leads and needs, or what we like to say is give to get, right? And so everyone's accountable to be providing some input into the program, right? I do my part, they do their part. But if someone needs to meet somebody or wants to meet somebody, we roundtable, because to just what you just said, you don't know who your neighbor is.
That's
or
right.
who they know. And
Right.
by vocalizing it, and then also keeping track of all the companies that are hiring, which we bring to the room too, I track it so that people can go back and apply. So it's just, it's that opportunity to network, explaining what you need, what you're trying, what you've seen, and then what you can get out of the course is really beneficial for everybody. It's a win-win for 2 hours of your time.
Oh, it's
twice a month, I think.
You know, and how I met Melody, I'll share with you. I got a thing. I get my AARP magazine, and I'm thumbing through it, and I see this thing under the Massachusetts section about something that they have in Worcester once a month. So I looked down, and it gave me a name, and I got a hold of this young lady named Kelly Leffler.
Yep.
And that's how I got her name. And she's in Boston. I said, well, I'm going to be in Boston on Thursday. I have to be at Mass General for one of my checkups. I said, so where are you? Oh, I'm right down the street from Mass General. So I said, great, I'll stop and see you. So I was in Boston. I took a time, walked down Tremont Street, walked in and met her. She invited me to the Worcester program. I went to Worcester. I met Melody sitting at Worcester, because I went in and said, look, I've got all these people sitting here. I do television shows. Hey, folks, anybody want to do a TV show and talk about what you do? Here's my card. Give me a call. And that's how this all came about.
Right.
And now I'm sitting there, and I'm in Charlton, and she leans over and says, well, I'm from Southbridge. You know, that's what, 1 mile, 2 miles away?
Exactly.
And I said, what? So that's how simple it is. And so Melody and I became, pals at a little meeting in Worcester that she was at, that I came to, and there we are. And now Melody's here telling us this great, exciting story. And folks, if you're out there, if you know somebody, if you want to get involved, here's your contact. Here's a program that they offer twice a month in Worcester. It's the second and fourth Wednesdays. All you have to do is go on MCOA. Is that it?
Yep.
And track it down, and there you are. And it's an opportunity to reach out and do something exciting and different, and stop sitting on the couch watching television. Get going.
That's right. I agree with you, Dick.
Well, Melody, it's been terrific having you with us. I think this is an exciting program, and I'm so delighted that the governor is behind us and pushing this. And it's called Aging Massachusetts, and it's a great opportunity for folks to really reach out and do things.
Well, the program for the state, just to clarify, is Governor Baker's Aging for the Elderly.
Right.
The program for me is the 50-plus Job Seekers
Right.
Networking Group.
Right.
Yep.
And that's terrific. So there you go, folks. Isn't there's a great program. Melody, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
And and in the future, if you bump into somebody who wants to come on, you know how to get a hold of me.
I do.
Tell them, say, hey, I got a guy that he'll put you on television.
I will.
And we'll get people out there, and we'll get them talking about it. So there you have it, folks. That's another Conversations With. Thanks for watching.